So 7 out of 10 companies in pharma industry had some or the other digitization project which failed in last 3 years. They either had to discontinue a module or they did not use a module at all. Okay, so basically they are spending crores, but either the adoption rate is very less, or it remains underutilized, or it is ultimately becomes a shelfware, what we are calling a shelfware. It is just there, no one is really using it. We when we delved further and looked into the data that we have got, we basically could classify them into 3 buckets. Okay, the reasons. Okay, the reason number 1 is that when you are selecting a tool, you are getting a tool, you are basically falling for the catalog benefits. What do I mean by catalog benefits is someone else has done something, I must also do the same thing. When they are going like this, the catalog benefits is something that they are using to convince their users that these are the benefits that you will get, would you be interested? Then they are going into a problem called scope management, because the users are asking for something else, because their need would be something else, the needs will vary, and because it's a catalog benefit, the software vendors are saying that this is a standardized or you can say the software is to solve a set of problems that they have thought are the problem. Okay, and these two go into a tussle now. The second one is that activation of the tool. When finally we have convinced the user, okay, let's go for it, they want to activate the tool, but going live is not equal to activation of the tool. There is a lot of problems, because on the day of go live, you will find out there are a lot of other problems that are still there, which needs further development or things like that. So activation is not happening properly, and beyond the go live, it keeps on happening. The third one is that people need handholding. The users who are going to supposed to use the tool, the training of the users is not really helping, because once you train a person, not all the users of the tool can come across and use the tool with the same amount of energy or fervor from day one. So what happens is the tool appears useless. Apparently it becomes useless because somebody is putting their data in, somebody is not putting their data in. So the tool, when the end user is looking at it, let's say the top management is looking at it, he is not getting a complete picture. So these 3 gaps is what we find. In fact, if we formed an acronym which is GAP only, GAP. Getting a tool is not really good for you. A is activation and P is the last point. Yeah, so like I said, in getting a tool, they are going for the catalog benefits. The catalog benefits is not really helping, because then you have to go for convincing your user that whatever your need is, this is what you must try to implement. The second mistake is they are thinking that going live will be my activation point. That never happens. And the third is they are assuming that by giving training to users, they will be able to convince the user, or they will be able to make the tool useful for them. Okay, so a tool might have a very good UI UX, so to say, or very attractive to look at, but it may not be useful for the user at the end of the day. For pharma companies to overcome this problem, we are introducing something called the GAP framework. Okay, so the first point is that the solution should be found first, and then we should think about a tool instead of going for the catalog benefits. Second is the data issues and the integration issues, so to say, must be resolved well beyond the go live date. Okay, and the third is the users must be handheld so that the adoption is better for their side. Once you have followed this, then the user adoption is better. Obviously, the data issues are resolved at a much early stage. You will get measurable benefits from whatever changes you have done, and the tool overall becomes an enabler in the journey of improvement, and the investments that you have done gives real returns. So we had worked extensively with a company who is doing business in the in 22 countries. Okay, and they had implemented a CRM tool to visit the doctors. Okay, and to visit the pharmacies for their MRs, the medical representatives, and to kind of introduce their products and all that. The way this CRM tool was implemented was not working. When we intervened, we saw that it is not working because people thought that visibility of what people are doing, what these MRs are doing, when they are visiting the doctors, whether they are visiting the doctors, this is what will kind of bring in the impact, okay, in the market. They were growing because the market itself was growing, so they were growing their business year on year. But what happened is, we found that the users are not really putting any data. Okay, they are not using the tool, so to say. The tool is throwing a monthly travel plan, a tour plan, but that monthly tour plan is not being used by anybody. That is number one. It is getting, let's say, 2-3 days into it, some uncertainty will hit. They may not be able to go somewhere, some doctor is not available, some weather condition is not good, let's say today it's raining, so people are not doing that visit, and once a visit is missed, the whole monthly plan is going for a toss. Now, to enable that the tool must be used by people, what they did is, they had some punitive action also. If you do not log in to the tool for a while, then you will be thrown out of the tool, and it might be connected to your salaries also. Okay, so all these were done, but still the tool was not being used, and there were other kind of real world reasons also, like internet access was not there with that guy when they're visiting, let's say far away doctors or this thing. They don't really have time to feed the system with the data, all that stuff. When we intervened, we saw that first of all, this system is not really throwing any good information, and people are not really using it. So there is data issue, there is software issue, and people are ultimately, the users are blaming the vendor that your tool is not good enough, or vendor is saying that the users are not putting any data. So what we did is, first thing is, we realized the user is not really getting any help from the tool. If the tool must help the user, the travel plan cannot be a fixed monthly plan. It must be changed every now and then. Okay. So basically what we did is, we completely created a dynamic plan now. Okay. So first of all, every 2-3 days, the tool will see what are the latest status of visits, how many visits have already been done, who has not been visited for a while, and based on that, it will generate a travel plan which is only valid for next 3-4 days. It will not try to predict the whole month, only next 3-4 days. And whatever happened in next 3-4 days, again it will take stock of that and create the new plan. Now, the tool suddenly become very useful for the medical representatives. They can rely on the new plan that is getting churned out by the tool. They do not have to do their own mental calculation, so to say, where to visit, or they don't have to did not have any reason to mistrust the data, basically. So once that happened, then automatically they started feeding data into the system, because it is a mutual symbiotic relationship. They are getting benefit out of the system, so now they happily put data into the system. It is not a measurement matrix for them anymore. By the way, once this is done, then the company started getting huge amount of information in terms of, if let's say in an area you are not getting enough sales, so why the sales is not happening after all these processes are being followed. The doctors are visited. Previously, what used to happen is, people will always go for some excuse. The doctor are not visited, or the pharmacy is not visited, and they will manage their KRAs. Now everything is visible. That part is taken care of. So the real problems can started surfacing. Okay, and the company now can address those real problems. So all in all, during our implementation, all 22 countries together, they achieved 10% more than how the market was growing, than the average what the other competitors had achieved. Their sales grew by 10% more than that. This is how the digitization was a successful project in that company.